So here we are interviewing Sam Blas from Balai de Blas in Laoag City, which I've been mispronouncing Laoag the whole time, and Joanna's been correcting me the entire trip.
Yes,
But Sam actually worked in the U.S., right, for about 10 years.
Yes, yes.
But you were here before.
I was here before.
Okay, so tell us a little bit your background in terms of when you immigrated and where the places you went.
Yeah, I was born and raised here. This location right here. Of course, the building wasn't here. It was a two-story house, partly cement, partly wood, and that's where I was born and raised. And I was a teenager when I went to Manila in search for. Well, I went to school, and then somehow I got bored with school and started working in a hotel. I wanted to study and wanted to work and study at the same time. But the lure of earning my own money, I cut off my ties practically with my parents, and I became independent, very very independent, because I had my own money, got to spend it, and nobody was gonna mind what I was gonna do, and so I got stuck, working in a hotel, and that's what I did for the longest time here in the Philippines before I migrated to the U.S. So I moved from one department to another. I wanted to learn. I guess subconsciously I was preparing myself for a big job in the U.S. because I moved from one department to another when I was working in a hotel in Manila. I was a bus boy, I was a bartender, I was a cashier, I was the assistant manager, all that. So when I migrated to the U.S., when I applied in a Renaissance hotel, and they took me just like that because I was what they were looking for.
What year was that?
Jack of all trades. Oh, a long time ago. This was in 1985, I think. I've lost track.
Well, everybody has sort of this think on going to the U.S. as like the American dream.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the American dreams, and maybe because a lot of Filipinos always want to go abroad, be an overseas worker or maybe a permanent resident, and maybe some of the expectations of American dreams, and maybe some of those where those dreams were betrayed or maybe not in jive with the reality in terms of what Filipinos actually expect when they go to the U.S.
Well, as a kid, we always looked forward to the Hawaiianos coming back from Hawaii,
right?
Not from the mainland. And before the Balikbayan word was coined, we had a word for it, and that's Hawaiiano, because they all came from Hawaii, and these were plantation workers, and they didn't even know how to read nor write, but all they had was a dream to make their lives better, and they would take vacations. They would bring lots of those boxes filled with whatever, and we so looked forward to it. Somehow they brought with them soap and even just toothpaste, and everything seemed better from those shores, and we so looked forward to them. So they came and they had so much pasalubong, and obviously they had much more money than us. So in our minds as kids, that is our final destination. You strive just so you can go to America and be a Hawaiian, and build a big house, things like that. So it was very natural for us that our goal is to be in the U.S., in Hawaii, and there was no doubt about it. In our minds as kids, that's what we look forward to. And when my mother was there and she petitioned us, there was like 6 of us who went there all at the same time. That was a dream come true. And it was. And when I was in the U.S., it wasn't that easy. The first few years, you begin to question, is this the right decision? I thought everything was a lot better here, but then you still have to work very, very hard. Yeah, you see these nice fancy cars, but you have to work hard for those. But then I think because it's the Filipino culture, you get adapted to it, to any situation for that matter. And I enjoyed it, while I was living there. And
What was your work history like when you first started there?
oh, when I first started there,
Yeah, in terms of-
because I let me see, I because my sister had a house in San Jose. That's where I started. You know, all of us. You know, we were this house that my sister owned, and we shared bedrooms, things like that. And there was already a job waiting for me, courtesy of my uncle, who's married to my aunt actually. He said, you know, well, you know, be a typical tourist for a week. After a week, you should work. I said, okay. So I just trusted him, you know. So we went to Reno, we went to all these places. Oh, wow, this is the U.S., you know, there's snow everywhere up in the mountains, you know, the Sierra Nevada. That was fun. And then after a week, I had to work, and I worked in a factory. You know, back in those days, the Silicon Valley manufactured a lot of those PC boards, you know,
Yes.
which I think they have outsourced now. They don't make them anymore. But we did, and so it was really physical work for me, which ran counter to what I was used to in Manila. But I took it, you know, I did it for almost a year, and then I went to, what happened? You know, I think I took a trip to San Francisco, and there was this hotel being built, and I said, I just had a hunch, you know, I think I want to work there, and I did. You know, I was able to get a job there. I mean, among all those so many hotels in San Francisco, why I chose that place, I don't know. And it was not even done yet. They were still in the process of, you know, putting things together. But anyway, I got a job there, so I moved to San Francisco.
Were there a lot of Filipinos in the service in the hotel industry at that time?
Yes.
All
There
right.
were. I mean, I think 1/3 of the people in the housekeeping department were Filipinos. There's a sprinkling of course, there's Latinos, but then it's broken down to, you know, Mexicans, Nicaraguans. You put them all together, probably another 1/3.
So how long
Yeah.
did you stay in the U.S.?
Oh my goodness, I lost track. That's probably 15 years. Yeah, about 15 years, I'd say.
Okay. And then how did you come to the evolution of thinking maybe you should go back to the Philippines, whether it's going to be viable economically to you know earn a living, and
Yeah.
how did that come about?
You know, that never really crossed my mind. All I can remember is that one day, the work that I loved so much suddenly became a chore.
That was the concierge.
As a concierge, yeah, suddenly became a chore, and I said, you know, I thought maybe I just needed a vacation, and so I took a long vacation. I came back to the Philippines, and it seemed so natural, like I'm home. I felt like home, which was weird to me because when I left the Philippines, I said, I'll never come back here, you know, because the USA is my final destination. I'm gonna live there, retire, and live for the rest of my life there in the US. Somehow when I came back here, seeing the old house, you know, it felt so natural.
Yeah, because
Come
like
home.
why of all siblings, right?
Yes.
Some decide to stay, and then maybe one person or two individuals have a longitudinal commitment to their home country, and why you and not the others, right?
Why me?
Because my siblings have no interest except to visit here every 5 years. My older brother's never been back in 40 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you know what, to each his own, you know. Yeah, they all of them are married, and they have big houses. You know how it is, big
Right.
houses, big monthly payments, you know,
Right,
nice cars.
Yeah.
You know, you pay
Yeah.
nicely as well.
Right. The freedom.
But, yeah,
yeah.
but I didn't have those, you know.
Right,
so
right.
I was fortunate to have lived in San Francisco, where the mass transport is very excellent. So you don't really have to own a car. But even so, I had a car, but one of those where, you know, it's very cheap, you know, and so I didn't have any commitment. I'm kind of afraid of commitment.
Right.
Whether it's a relationship or a big car, a nice car, or a big house, you know, I didn't have that. So it was easy for me to transport myself from the U.S. to here. It was easy for me to make a decision to transplant myself And yeah, because if you have those commitments, you don't even entertain the idea. But because I didn't have those commitments, I entertained the idea, and it progressed uh, from something as simple as that, of taking a vacation, to finally staying here because I didn't have big commitments in the U.S.
What were the initial challenges of coming back here and then suddenly after a vacation you realize you have to earn a living?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
what were some of the challenges?
I
you
still
faced?
went back. I still went back to the U.S. But this time there was a resolve in me that yeah, I'm gonna go back to the U.S. I think I know what to do. You know,
So you worked a little bit more.
I worked a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
So coming from a vacation, of course, I was enthusiastic to go back to work. You know, meet my coworkers again, and then after a year, that thing sets in again, my boredom, and so I said, okay, I think it's time for me to really check out the Philippines. You know? And I didn't have an idea what business to get into, things like that. All I know is that I have to go back to the Philippines and set up something, you know, worth my while and earn my keep. So whatever, you know, savings I had, I came back and then convinced my brothers and sisters to put up something. This Balai de Blas is a project of ours, brothers and sisters, and they agreed. They agreed because they said, well, if we take a vacation in the Philippines, we should be staying in our own little place instead of staying in a hotel. So that's what I did. I came home and put up the building, and that time the Laoag city was getting to be known as a tourist destination, and we were getting short of rooms, and so the tourism head advised me to change the concept from one-bedroom apartments to maybe, you know, a little hotel. You know, that's why the Balai de Blas Pension house became a reality.
What were the other business opportunities you were looking at besides a pension when you're coming back? Because every time you come back, you see maybe people making money here, there. So,
Yes.
So what were the other ones that you're?
None.
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 This is,
Yeah, because this is my
Oh,
expertise.
Oh, I
you know,
see.
I can do it.
Right.
I can do it with my eyes closed. You know,
Right.
that sort of. So it was very natural for me. And while this was under construction, actually, I donated my time and my talent to the tourism office of Laoag City while it was under construction, because I had plenty of time in my hands.
Right.
And that's when I interacted with the people involved in tourism, and that's when I got convinced by the tourism head to put up a little hotel.
So part of your
Yeah,
advice
so-
for Filipino Americans thinking about returning is maybe volunteering with that industry first to learn a little bit about the
Yes,
industry.
definitely.
To
You
know
know,
how to
get your
navigate the business and just the whole climate in terms
yeah,
of starting.
get your feet wet first,
Right,
you know,
right.
so to speak, rather than just diving into it. You know, it's kind of risky. After all, it's hard-earned money that
Right.
you're dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
So see, a lot of Filipinos at the university where I teach, they're gonna come out with a lot of human capital, right, in terms of education, experience. But then they always ask me, how much money do I need to actually maybe a working capital to do something in the Philippines? So what would be a ballpark figure you think they should save before they should come over here and
I think,
invest?
you know, there is. Okay. It's enjoying it. It's enjoying every minute, every pebble of it. Huh? It depends on the kind of business you want to get into. You know, whatever you're comfortable investing, leave something behind, or you don't want to spend all that to set up a business. You know, you have
Right.
to have something to fall back on. But ₱1,000,000 will do.
Oh, wow.
You know, up to say sky's the limit. You know, when we put up Balai de Blas, I think the building cost about 5 million. Yeah, and today's prices, maybe it's probably double that now. Yeah, but it's something that you're gonna have. We are gonna have for the rest of our lives. You know, so we thought of that. Even if it's not going to earn some money, it is here. It is here. And that's what we plan on anyway. You know, to have a place of our own.